So today I am setting up one of my old tanks. Well, more of disinfecting. I had a little bit of a bacterial outbreak, so this tank has been under a lot of pressure. To be honest, I've been doing a lot of horrible things to it. So I spent the last 2 days disinfecting it. With bleach and then removing trace amounts of bleach because I do plan on restocking and reseeding the tank. Um, As you can see, there are a couple of snail shells still in there. Typically, when a snail of mine dies, I remove the snail from the shell and then add the shell back into the tank just so that other snails can eat it. And as it breaks down, it can release calcium into the water column, which is amazing for breeding mystery snails. As you can see, I'm working with some driftwood and some stones from a local quarry and from a local canyon nearby. It was honestly hectic just disinfecting it, but luckily I have my assistant here, Mr. Cody LaFloof, my newest family member with that derpy smile. Don't trust him, he's evil. And then I was working with some guppy grass and some, I think it's a type of Java fern that I was able to connect to, I think it's grape wood. I could be wrong, but either way, it's a type of driftwood. Now, this is my loach tank. I have two Yoyo Loaches, and as you can see, they are beautiful. But the more research I've done on them, the more I'm kind of like, I know a lot of people say that they can do smaller tanks, but I really just don't think that a 40-gallon tank like this one is big enough for them. And I want to upgrade their tank, so I'm going to move them into the bigger tank. Plus, I only have two of them, and they are shoaling fish. I will make a care guide and discuss them in another video, but they are shoaling fish, so they do better in larger groups because I have had some issues with aggression. So I'm hoping that if I move them to a larger tank, and I stock a little bit more heavy with familiar species, that they'll be a lot more social, they'll be less skittish, and I can hopefully get rid of some of that aggression. They're so cute, they love to chase each other. I adore these fish, but like I said, I'll talk more about them in a later video. So here is the setup that I decided on. There's still a lot of particulate matter because I had just filled up the tank, and while I was recording this, the tank was still cycling. I was still seeding the bacteria from another tank. I wanted to fill this tank with as many hiding places as possible because I love loaches, and Yoyo Loaches, they love to chase each other, they love to hide, and they love to explore, so I wanted to give them as many places that they could quickly duck away in case they get the zoomies or something. Again, I apologize for the particulate matter. It looks kind of nasty, but don't worry, we did get it filtered out. I love this setup with the exception of that green decoration in the center, as you can see. It's kind of an eyesore, isn't it? It's like a big booger stuck on the glass. Like centered right in the middle of the tank. It was ugly. I don't know, do you think it was ugly? Because I think it was kind of ugly, and it was kind of an eyesore for the tank. I did end up taking it out, but for the most part, this was the final setup. So let's come back in a bit and show you what it looks like once the tank is seated and we've put the loaches in. So here we go. There's the first loach. The tank is finally seated, and there's even a couple snails in there for them to eat. I do want to get a better light, but at the same time, I don't think they like bright light very much, so I might just keep it the way it is. I'm really excited to see the plants grow in this tank. I think it looks a little bit bare right now. I mean, I really like the hardscapes that I did, but I feel like the tank is going to just genuinely look more full and more intact and more engaging once the plants start to grow a little bit more. The loaches loved it so much. They were just exploring all day and all night. I literally sat there for hours just watching them. They were so excited. They were really stressed when I first put them in the tank, and I was really sad to see that they got a little pale, and that happens sometimes. I was obsessively checking the parameters just because, they are considered a scaleless fish, even though they're not. But they are highly susceptible to trace chemicals in the water, so I really want to make sure that they were okay. and just observe them for a while. But they seemed to be happy once they calmed down and they got used to it. I didn't see any glass surfing or anything like that. They seemed to be rather engaged with their environment and engaged with each other. Um, but yeah, I will come back to make a video specifically talking about loaches, care, and behavior later on.